The greatest shoe in the galaxy.
Yes. Just the greatest one.
What a great shoe.
It's the greatest. I mean, they say shoes come in pairs, but I think this one's just standing alone.
Yes, much better than any other. They do say shoes come in pairs.
They do.
It's often said.
It's said. That's an expression I don't understand, though.
I'm Tom Dickinson.
And I'm Louis Midas.
And this is The Cloister Room,
a podcast about Doctor Who and other things.
What did you think of the greatest show in the galaxy?
I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Me too. I like it a lot.
I don't know. And I haven't seen that many Seventh Doctor serials, but I really seem to like a lot of his. I mean, like Time in the Rani being the notable exception. But more or less, overall, I tend to really like just, I don't know. I like, and maybe I just haven't seen enough to find the bad ones yet. But I don't know. I really liked this one. And I feel like I've really liked all the other ones I've seen of his. I don't know. I just like the sort of like tone and feel of it. Like, how ridiculous everything is, but at the same time, kind of creepy and scary a little bit.
Yeah, I feel exactly the same way. In fact, I'd say that really the only ones that I think are not very good are Time in the Rani and Silver Nemesis.
Oh, okay.
I think all the others are at least pretty good, and at best, absolute classics.
Yeah, well, and what I've seen, that seems to be, I would say that's pretty much the same. But Silver Nemesis, that sounds shockingly like Nightmare in Silver, in terms of, well, I guess in that it's got the word silver in it.
Yeah, that's one similarity that those two stories do have. I can confirm.
Does Silver Nemesis also feature the Cybermen? Because it just evokes that.
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, so we got a lot of overlap there, but it's not very good then.
Yeah, it's that's not particularly good. That's the 25th anniversary special, I guess you'd call it. But no one really likes it, and it's not especially special. And so I think a lot of people kind of prefer to regard Remembrance of the Daleks as the 25th anniversary special because it's better and takes place on November 23rd, 1963.
Oh, yeah. That's, that's honorable. That's like, it almost counts, I think.
Yeah, I don't even know why they didn't just, call it the 25th anniversary special. Why couldn't they just... Maybe they didn't realize that one of them was better than the other. Maybe
not. Well, it's the thing, can you, when you're that close to it, can you really tell?
I think maybe not. I don't know.
That is a thing I wonder, can actors tell? Or actors or writers or producers, can they tell when, this episode they're making is just terrible? As they're making it?
It's kind of hard to know that for sure, because I think everyone wants to say that they knew.
That's true. You're never going to get an honest answer out of them.
Say that, like, oh, I know it, and it's someone else's fault, and I'm about to tell you who. So they'll try to tell you who else's fault it is, and say that they knew all along, but they had to go along with it because they were on contract.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you're never gonna really know. Well, yeah, that's the thing is, when you're part of an organization or whatever, a team, maybe you don't feel great about this, but maybe, because you never know, like maybe you'll think like, oh, this isn't going to be good, but then it turns out to be great, and so because you're only seeing your part of it or whatever, and maybe like the props would suck that episode, but maybe everyone else, maybe all the actors did a really good job and made up for it, and then it made a great episode, so you never really tell. Probably not. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know. Who knows? But yeah. So But yeah, no, I really liked this one though. This was really good.
Yeah, I'd say this is one of the better ones.
Yeah.
Of the Sylvester McCoy era. Probably not my top 2 or 3, but it's very good.
Yeah. What would your top 2 or 3 be?
Oh, I'd say Curse of Fenric, Remembrance of the Daleks, probably Ghost Light, Survival, maybe. That's 4.
That is 4. That's a good top 4, I think. I mean, I haven't seen any of those. Maybe I've seen Curse of Fenric. I can't remember. I watched a smattering.
A smattering?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, I was kind of surprised. I wasn't really surprised so much because I'd kind of already, I've seen a few Seventh Doctor stories, and so I kind of knew. I knew what to expect from the Seventh Doctor era, but and I knew this was I think I knew this was a well-regarded. I knew it was a talked-about episode. I knew that much.
Well, I think it's a story that's actually kind of divisive.
Go on.
Well, I mean, some people think the Seventh Doctor era is just crap.
Oh, okay.
And this kind of exemplifies the things that they think are crap about it. And one of those is the tone that you mentioned that you really like, and I really like as well. But I think some people think that's a very off tone because it's a little less. I don't know. Compare it to, for instance, Robots of Death. Like it's not as they're not playing it as straight as they are there.
Right.
Like Robots of Death it has humor to it, and there's a little bit of silliness to it, but it's not as like intentionally over the top. Like let's just be strange and kooky.
Yeah.
Whereas I think for a certain kind of fan, that Fourth Doctor era feel of the Hinchcliffe era and the time around it, that exemplifies Doctor Who, and this is kind of a deviation from that. But I feel like there are a lot of different ways of doing things, and this is a good one.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I don't know. It's weird because I see like elements of this in like the new series, especially like Russell T Davies era. Maybe even isolated to just series 1 and 2. Where it does a lot of that silly stuff kind of like it does here. And and I like that. And I feel like, I mean, yeah, you can have like the more serious, sort of tone like you get in some of the Fourth Doctor era, like the Hinchcliffe era. But I mean, this is good too. I don't know. I mean, I have a hard time picking like one era over the other, just because they're so different. And I mean,
and you don't have to pick one.
Exactly. You don't. You can like them both. You can like them all, and no one's stopping you. And yeah, and I don't know. I mean, like like the Hinchcliffe era was definitely good for its time. But this is a different era, and this is a different, they're going for something different. And I don't think it's, I mean, I wouldn't say one is worse than the other. They're just different.
You're right. And I think you're right when you say that it like, when you note the similarity to the Russell T Davies era. Mm-hmm. And that was something that when I finally got down to watching all of Doctor Who in order, it kind of surprised me how smooth the transition between the 7th and 9th Doctors is. I mean, the 8th Doctor kind of feels like the odd one out there, but how, the show as Russell T Davies brought it back, I mean, it's in a lot of ways it's different from where the show left off, but in some other ways it just seems like it was just picking up and carrying on.
Yeah. Yeah, I wonder if that wasn't maybe more or less intentional. Like, I mean, kind of going back to that, to what it was, and then being able to take it one step further. I'm sure that was in some sense the intent. To start somewhere and then work off of that, which and I like that. I think that's. I mean, like I don't know. It would have been weird. I mean, I'm sure it would have worked, but it would have been weird and different if they had decided to like try to emulate the Hinchcliffe era in series 1.
Right.
Like the Slitheen would have been a very different monster.
Yeah, the Slitheen feel like they would belong in this world.
Yeah, really.
Like, you could picture the Slitheen coming to the Psychic Circus.
Exactly. You really could. There'd be some farting act. It would be great.
Do you think the gods of Ragnarok would enjoy that? Or do you think they'd...
I think they would have given it all 9s.
Yeah.
I think they would have loved that.
Me too.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed that the gods of Ragnarok just didn't like the Doctor's act so much. I mean, like, obviously he was just stalling for time at the end there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I enjoyed what he was doing. I don't know, I guess they're just a tough crowd.
Yeah, and it's funny that he was stalling for time because he seemed to know what was going to happen.
He had that down to the millisecond, basically. He had it all timed out. He pointed his umbrella like at the floor or whatever, and then like right at that second, the medallion popped up, and he was like, "Oh yeah, here we go," and he was ready for action. I got to hand it to the Seventh Doctor. He really has like this impeccable sense of like just what's going on and how to manipulate things just the right way.
It's funny though because it doesn't start off seeming like that at all. And in fact, like if you were to go back and rewatch the first episode, I mean, should we think that, he's been fighting these gods of Ragnarok throughout time and space and he's coming to this planet to fight them? Are we supposed to think like, he's got it all under control all along? Or are we supposed to, think he just kind of stumbled blindly into it?
Right, he just really wanted to see a circus.
Well, I mean, that's the way, it definitely seems that way at first. Like, because he gets junk mail in the TARDIS, by
Right.
pure happenstance, that, manipulates Ace into going.
Yeah. And actually bullies them into going.
Yeah, that's... Yeah, that was interesting.
I'm not looking forward to that. Whenever that gets here, I don't want junk mail that bullies me into doing stuff.
No,
I don't think so.
Yeah, probably not.
I don't know. I don't know what to make of. Yeah, I mean, like, it does kind of all just fall into place, though. I don't know. But the Doctor had faced these people, these beings before. Was that?
Well, that's what he says in this story.
Yeah.
It's never been chronicled.
Oh, okay. All right. So,
as far as I know.
Well,
It's a lot like the Celestial Toymaker in that sense.
Yeah. This just happens to be a lot better than the Celestial Toymaker.
Yeah, there are probably many who would disagree.
Well, yeah, no doubt.
I think just from the very beginning of this serial, it like hits you with this weird 80s hip hop, and you're like, should this be in Doctor Who? This doesn't seem right. Like, because it honestly felt to me like, wait, am I really watching Doctor Who the first time I sat down? Because I didn't know that was coming.
Yeah. Well, how could you?
I wasn't. Well, I mean, like with the Gunfighters, when I first sat down, I knew there was going to be a song because I'd heard people talk about it. But when people talk about this, they never talk about the rap.
Yeah, that really drew me in. It was really something. I definitely wasn't expecting it though. But that's the thing that I guess that really hasn't aged well. I guess it's something it feels very dated.
Well, and maybe it's aged marvelously.
Well, there you go.
I don't know. I don't know. It sounds like, I don't know. The only thing I can compare it to is like parodies of it that I've seen since then, of that like goofy 90s or 80s hip hop. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, it's. You think maybe this, or at least it started off as being ironic, maybe like this is supposed to be a future parody. Like this circus is like, I do have a few bones to pick, and one of which is that I don't see the psychic element all that much.
No.
But yeah. So this could be a parody. This could be this could be his act. This is what he does. He just raps. Well, I guess it stands to reason, but or it could be because I have difficulty imagining a future in which this sort of style of entertainment or just like spontaneous raps. I don't see the spontaneous rap coming back anytime soon.
Well, they all had to learn a skill apparently, like when they started the circus, and I guess that was his
rapping. Yeah, I guess so. I guess it must be. It certainly seems like a skill. I mean, if you're doing the sort of, what is it, freestyle kind of thing where you don't have anything prepared, that takes skill.
Yeah, he's great at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, but they prior to coming here, they traveled around and were pretty great, I guess. Enough to garner fans anyway.
Oh well, yeah, they have quite the fan base apparently.
It's kind of weird. I don't know, maybe this is a future where, the internet got uninvented or whatever. So, like, news doesn't travel very fast. Or maybe, I don't know. But, like, I would have felt like their reputation would have gone down once, people started to go to the Psychic Circus, which just stopped traveling and, set up shop on a single planet. And then, nobody ever comes back. At the very least, word of mouth would go downhill.
Yeah. Well, there's no one survives to spread the bad word.
Right, I guess. Yeah, I mean, it's just that there's no good word of mouth either.
Right.
It just stays neutral.
But they've clearly got, quite the advertising program.
I guess so. Yeah, you're right. The bullying advertising program. Yeah, so
I mean, if it can get through the TARDIS defenses, it has to be pretty sophisticated.
That's right. Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty compelling, I think.
Yeah, so that fanboy character, what did you think of that?
I thought it was funny. Like, it was kind of, I don't know. I did like him. I liked how into it he was. But even though he didn't really have, like, an act prepared or anything.
Yeah, I think he was supposed to represent Doctor Who fandom.
I kind of thought maybe that was the case.
Like, he was the Osgood of the day.
I didn't want to read too much into it, but it kind of felt that way.
Yeah. I think that was pretty clearly intentional,
and that's fair. I'm gonna say that's fair.
Yeah, and like various other Doctor Who fandom avatars, he ends up being brutally murdered.
That's right. You just
like Clive in Rose.
Oh yeah. Wow. There's so much here to unpack.
Oh, well, I'd say so. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's yeah. Doctor Who fans, it's tough. It's tough being a Doctor Who fan.
I'll say.
But yeah, wow. He does die, and I imagine his impressions of the circus kind of got spoiled. I think he was probably hanging on to some previous era, and he couldn't get used to the new era.
Well, he even said something along the lines of, what do you say? Oh, he's like, I haven't seen the older stuff, but I know it's way better, or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's that was like a subtle dig at fans who are like, and Tomb of the Cybermen, they don't do anything good like that anymore. And it's like, you weren't even born then.
I do love how just ridiculous some of this stuff is. I mean, like, that, like, the main evil clown guy, mm-hmm. I forget his name. He has this, like, gesture that he keeps repeating over and over again, and I just love it.
Oh, yeah.
I love it every time he does it. He sort of raises this, like, closed fist, like, up to his face, and then he, like, opens his hand and, like, smiles really widely at the same time, and I love it. It's just so, I don't even know where that comes, like, what that's supposed to be, but I love it.
It's very menacing.
He is so menacing. And I mean, obviously we go into this with, Ace being like, well, clowns creep me out, I hate clowns. And, and this guy, obviously just completely reinforces that. But yeah, geez, I mean, and that's the thing is, he's so, like, it's so ridiculous and over the top, but at the same time, he is, like, super creepy. And I love how they can maintain that, and I think it's great. I do have to say, I wonder what I would have thought had I seen this as a small child.
Oh yeah, it would probably be pretty upsetting.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever really had a fear of clowns.
No, I don't think so either.
But this might well have given me one.
Right, like this would have been the thing. This would have been the tipping point.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm right there with Ace. This is one creepy clown.
Yeah, yeah.
I just, it's just so, I just love all the crazy characters that they introduced, though. There's, like,
yeah, that's one of the great things about the story. It's such like a motley crew.
Yeah, it really is. And I love one of the opening scenes is just, and I feel like it really establishes things. Is like, there's this character, what is it, Nord?
Yeah, Nord.
He's what, Vandal of the Roads? Is that what he
something like that? Yeah.
He like drives up on his motorbike or whatever, like, and he like takes a bite out of like a burger or something. It looks like the meat is raw. I couldn't really tell. And then like throws it down and then just like speeds off. And I love it.
Yeah, it's just like a completely eclectic mix of characters who don't seem to have much to do with one another. It's just like they just throw random elements in here, and for some reason it just works. It's so bizarre.
Yeah.
that it works.
It really is.
Yeah, apparently this story was expanded at some point from 3 episodes to 4 because it was supposed to fit into a 3-episode slot for the previous season, but then they postponed it to this season when it had 4 episodes. So I think they added in some time to, like, you know, establish weird characters.
Well, yeah, I feel like
roam around in the wilderness.
Yeah, well, I feel like they used that time well because it didn't seem like it dragged on at any point.
No,
I mean, like they do sort of like go back. I mean, like they sort of like retrace their steps at points. You know, they go back to that bus, but I mean, it doesn't feel like it's that. It doesn't feel like it's being padded.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, like, wow, they make good use of it. But yeah, no, I just and I wouldn't want it to be 3 episodes, especially if it would have sacrificed some of these great characters.
Yeah. Like I loved Captain Cook.
Oh yeah.
Just a completely like a pure comedy, blustering adventure, and then he becomes quite sinister and terrible.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. That's always a good path to go on.
Yeah, so he's kind of like the opposite of the Doctor in terms of like being an adventurer.
That's true. Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, and it's funny. It's funny that he's like he really looks like he's, you know, straight out of, you know, whatever era that was, like the early 1900s or whatever, when they were, you know, whatever not invading as
like
such.
colonial,
right? Colonial. You know, when they were like colonizing Africa or whatever and exploring out in the jungle or whatever. Well,
Captain Cook is Australia, I think.
Oh, is it really?
So yeah, I probably should know that, but
I didn't know if it was actually rooted in any sort of. But you know, it's
yeah, he was a British explorer of the 18th century, actually.
Okay. Okay. But I love how like he's supposedly like an intergalactic adventurer, but he's picked a very Earth-centric style of dress.
Yes.
It's so bizarre. It's so bizarre that he for whatever reason he just chooses to look exactly like, you know, the Earth explorer, even though he is supposedly exploring, you know, the whole galaxy.
Well, I mean, and that's true of the circus. That's true of, you know, the 80s rap. That's true of, you know, it seems to be a common thing. I guess everything goes in cycles.
I guess it must. It really must. So this is all coming back.
It's good to know.
Yeah.
We can plan ahead.
Can't wait for mullets.
Yeah, so don't throw out any of your old clothing because it'll all be very useful in whatever future time this is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I never throw anything away of mine.
Oh, is that why?
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, I don't even know what, like, Deadbeat's hairstyle was supposed to be.
No. It was supposed to be something.
Oh, and Mags being some kind of werewolf thing, that was cool too.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it was a werewolf. I'm not sure.
No, I think they use the term werewolf.
Oh,
so
do they?
I guess that's what it was.
It's a very abstract werewolf.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be that much physical transformation.
Yeah, not
there
so
is
much.
some.
Yeah, a little bit. You know, the important parts, I would say. You know, the claws and fangs.
Yeah,
those are really like, you tick those boxes. You're pretty much on your way.
Yeah, and they kind of build suspense about you know, what's her deal for the first several episodes, and then I guess at the end of episode 3 that they finally reveal.
They reveal the deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and the gods liked it. You know, that was
they sure did.
They should tried that a lot sooner. Might have gotten things resolved faster. Who knows?
It might have.
You know, there's really no character in this that I think is like not good. I don't know.
How about the fruit vendor lady?
No, I liked her too. I thought she was great. No, I loved how grumpy she was and how she just really wanted everyone to get off her planet.
I just kind of wondered why she was on that planet, because it's like, well, why is anyone on that planet?
Well, right.
No, I mean, I guess we know why the circus is there.
Yeah.
It's not immediately apparent, but we find out.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like this inhospitable wasteland, and that doesn't seem like a very good place to be
vending fruit.
Selling fruit, especially if you hate the circus, where that's the only like notable feature for miles around.
That's a good point. Well, this might be a case of just being too close to it. She can't see why people are there to buy her fruit. Like, she thinks people would just be there no matter what. She doesn't understand that this is a vicious cycle, that, you know, people come for the circus and they buy her fruit while they're there, and she hates them for being there, but She just can't see the bigger picture. It's the true tragedy here. is that she just can't see. She can't appreciate what's around her.
I guess.
Which is mostly a barren wasteland.
Yeah, she doesn't end up being very important to the story.
No, not really.
She doesn't like help out at a key moment or anything.
No, and she doesn't even really. She doesn't help out at all. Like when they first arrive, they sort of think they're using her in order to like get information or something, but she doesn't provide anything really.
Yeah, nothing really comes of it.
Yeah, just beyond expressing how much she hates them.
And maybe she was right to hate them. They were murderers.
I think she was completely justified. But yeah, I mean, well, do we think that maybe the gods' power extended even outward, and like maybe she stayed there because the gods were manipulating her or just like manipulating everyone on that planet?
But to what end? I mean,
I'm not sure. Well, I mean, it could be that they were trying to slowly break her will so that she would come to the circus,
so that she would join as an act.
Exactly. I think the gods just didn't anticipate her strong hatred for the circus and the kind it brings.
Yeah.
And so they had their work cut out for them. Yeah, she could have really been like the wrench in the works. She could have
brought it down.
She could have brought it down all by herself. She didn't even need the doctor.
Yeah.
But she just hated it too much. Maybe that was the thing. She hated it too much to even destroy it.
Huh. Okay.
I don't know.
Sure. So what do you think of Ace?
I really like Ace.
Yeah, I love Ace.
She might be my favorite companion.
Really?
Yeah, I just feel like maybe she is. I'm not sure. I think I'd have to see more, but I do feel like she's up there.
What about her in this story?
Well, because there are points where the doctor is trapped or otherwise in peril, and it's and instead of that being a thing where the companion is trapped or in peril, it's the doctor, and then Ace has to come to the rescue, which I think is kind of a cool thing. Mm-hmm. And like there's I forget which episode it's in. I think it's either the first or second episode where they've got that like robot buried in the sand.
Right.
And yeah, and the doctor gets caught in its claw or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's and it falls to Ace to save them. Which is neat. And I just like it because she's like this really action-y companion. And I don't know. I like a companion who's like has like a penchant for explosives. Like that's appealing to me. I think that's a cool thing to have.
Yeah, I do like that about her. But I also like how a lot of the stories can tend to revolve around like her issues.
Oh yeah.
Like in this case, she's got an issue with the circus.
Yeah.
And then there are other stories that revolve around issues like that. I don't know, like a good example, like Ghostlight does, Curse of Fenric does. And the doctor sometimes just pushes her buttons for the sake of pushing her buttons, which sometimes it's like because he's trying to like make her stronger, and sometimes it seems like he's just being a jerk. Like in this case, it honestly seemed to me like he's kind of being a bit mean to her at the beginning.
Yeah.
Where he's like, "Oh, you're just trying to make up excuses. You say you hear screams, you're just making excuses. You just don't want to go in the circus."
Yeah. Yeah, it's true. That's probably a little bit less than nice of the doctor. Yeah, it's there's something to be said for a companion who confronts their issues. I think that makes for some interesting Doctor Who.
Yeah, it really does. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of one of the things that I don't know, I think that's one of the things that makes this era so popular. And I mean, I think they kind of picked up on that in the New Adventures books that followed the TV series and sort of continued to develop that. But I haven't read too many of them, so I guess I don't know all that much about it.
Well, you know more than me,
I guess.
Not that that's saying much, but yeah, it's I don't know. I wonder what they would do if they were to do something similar in the new series, because I feel like they haven't really done that. I don't think they've ever had a companion at least with that many issues, I would say.
Yeah. I mean, I guess not. I mean, there have been like individual examples. I guess like maybe Father's Day would be one for Rose.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of. That's like the one example I could think of that would be similar to that, where and that's something that actually Rose even like tries to kick into motion, or does in fact. She's the one who brings that up and suggests it. But yeah, I don't think it's done too much. It certainly hasn't been done. Yeah, that's the most clear example. But because I don't know. I feel like I feel like the next companion should be different somehow. And maybe this is how they should be. Is just have a lot of issues that they need worked out. I'd be down for that.
Yeah. I think that would certainly make for an interesting through line that's a little different from what the kinds of things they've done.
Yeah.
Recently.
Yeah. I've no real issue with trying to make the companion be this like mystery or whatever, but I feel like that's gonna get tiresome eventually. Maybe it already has. And now like Clara isn't a mystery anymore, not really anyway. But I feel like they can't keep doing that. They can't keep making the Doctor be fascinated in a person and just like keeping them around to like study them.
Yeah, Clara's almost got like an issues based thing in Series 8.
That's true,
like,
she does.
Like, for instance, the Caretaker.
Yeah.
Kill the Moon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so, and that was pretty enjoyable. That was probably, like, some of the best bits we've seen, like, Clara in. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think, that's what made the Series 8 great, I think. So it's a kind of commonality with this era.
Yeah. Yeah, so
I don't know how Moffat feels about the McCoy era. I don't know if it's a one he liked a lot.
Yeah, well, because he talks a lot about classic Doctor Who, or at least I know he used to. I don't know if I'm assuming he still does to an extent. But yeah, I'd be interested to know, what he thinks of this era. Because you got like, as we discussed, the Russell T Davies era seemed to be a lot more of this kind of like silly tone. And I feel like we haven't gotten as much of that in the Moffat era. I feel like there's probably been moments that I could think of if I stopped and thought about it.
There's been like a different kind of silliness.
Yeah.
Like this is almost like, I don't know, like seriousness and silliness kind of mixed together in a really weird way.
Yeah.
Like, because for instance, the Lodger is silly.
Yeah.
But it's not like this.
No. Yeah. If we're looking for evidence of whether or not he liked it in the actual work, in the actual product, it seems like not really, or at least there's very little evidence of it. It has not been borne out in the work. We'll say.
I guess not.
I don't know. He could be saving that for Series 9.
He could be.
I hope this episode goes out before Series 9 airs.
It will, I think.
I hope.
They filmed it in a tent.
No way.
Instead of a studio. Yeah. A real tent.
Wow, that's commitment.
Well, it's more asbestos because there was asbestos in the studio. So they had to do something else. So they figured out, where are we going to film this? Could we get another studio? And they're like, no, they're all booked up. It's like, how about we set up a circus tent in the parking lot? So they did.
Wow. That's awesome. And convenient.
Yeah. I don't know if there's that much about it that's distinctive to me in that way though. There isn't anything that jumps out to me as like, oh, they couldn't possibly have filmed that in a studio. Like, oh wow, it's incredible. These tent shots are amazing. Like maybe there are things in there that are just very technically impressive and would only have been possible in the tent, but they just don't jump out at me.
Right. Yeah. There's no like sweeping tent shots, like Planet of the Dead style, kind of. Oh my God, we're in a tent. It's nothing but tent as far as you can see. But yeah, no, wow. Well, if anything, I feel like that's more impressive though, because wouldn't it be difficult? Like, I don't know all there is to know about filmmaking, but I thought like part of the advantage of doing it in a studio is you could sort of like just like build half or whatever and then have all your equipment on the other side where the camera...
I imagine it might have been something of a challenge, but you could still kind of do basically a similar setup to that in a tent.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
It'd just be in a tent instead of in a studio.
Yeah. I suppose that's true. Yeah, so it's probably not as much of a challenge as I'm imagining it to be. Well, it would be a challenge for me if I were to try and film an episode of Doctor Who.
Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to start.
Yeah, geez.
I don't even know what kind of cameras I'm supposed to use.
Oh, God, there's more than one?
Kind of camera? Yeah.
I figured there's just one kind. You just pointed at stuff.
Well, I think that's correct. You do.
There's one side that you point towards the stuff you want to film. Mm-hmm. Do I have that right?
Probably.
Okay.
That's probably true.
I feel like that's a start.
Yeah, you'll get it.
I eventually. Whatever. Filming intents aside, I like this episode. I have difficulty like pointing out anything that I feel like could have gone or was bad. I don't know.
No, I just think it's overall it's just a great fun story where Sylvester McCoy gets to do a lot of interesting stuff. There's a lot of great, minor characters that they're maybe not the most like deeply characterized characters, but they're all just kind of like fun little bits that just add something odd and interesting to the story.
Yeah.
And it's got this like weird kind of, I don't know, like this weird like theme about, hippie idealism getting taken over by, I don't know, by something, and then like trying to rediscover it.
Yeah.
Like, why can't we just go back to we were all peaceful and love and all that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's something really... Yeah, there's something there, But yeah, that's fascinating. Well, yeah. I do like it though. I do like that.
Oh yeah. I don't know. It just makes it. I don't know. It seems like I don't know. Like I wonder what the writer like. I wonder what his intentions were with that. Like, was he a former hippie or something? The writer was Stephen Wyatt, who also wrote Paradise Towers.
Oh, huh. Okay.
Another story I love.
Yeah. That's a good one. Yeah, I actually don't think I was as wild about... No, I don't remember. I feel like I wasn't as wild about that as you were, but I did still like it. So, I get it. But yeah, no, hey, that's good stuff. I do. I like how this was all... I don't know, I just like how it was all, like, realized. It was just, like... It's really fascinating to, like, get this, like, circus that's, like, used to have glory days, and now it's just, like, all run down and terrible. And it's just... And then you find out there's actually, like, a sinister power behind it. Which I guess, that's about par for the course for Doctor Who, I guess. But, I love it all. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There's evil kites.
Evil kites. What more could you ask for?
Yeah, I would never expect kites to be evil. But
that's a way out of left field.
But Doctor Who delivers.
They do. Who would have thought? I actually didn't understand the kites. Not really that much, anyway.
I didn't really either, but...
They can, like, see out of them?
Well, I guess that was the concept. I mean, there was the eye motif.
There was that eye motif.
So that seemed to be the case, but they're fun. Kites are fun.
Kites are fun. I will admit that.
It's been so long since I've flown a kite.
I don't think I've ever successfully flown a kite. I've attempted, but it's always sort of like unraveled, not literally.
I've not attempted it in the past 10 years.
Yeah, no, I think it's been quite some time. It's never as easy as it looks.
No, you got to get a nice windy day.
Yeah.
That's the moral of this story.
That is.
It's really the moral of the greatest show in the galaxy.
I think so.
There's a shot when during the pyrotechnics towards the end where everything is exploding and the doctor's walking away where Sylvester McCoy's clothing catches on fire.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't spot it, but apparently it happened, and he just kept walking anyway.
That's amazing.
Because he knew they couldn't retake it, so he just kept going.
Oh, I love that. I would expect nothing less from Sylvester McCoy.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I did love that scene. I did love how he was just kind of casually strolling. Mm-hmm. He just casually strolled away.
Like he does. And that's really his style, too. He just sort of sets the bomb or whatever, and, it's going off. Things are crumbling, falling around his ears, and he's just kind of he just waltzes out of there, And that's just how he rolls.
That's how he does it.
Yeah.
And I love it. It's so great.
Mm-hmm. Do you think the gods of Ragnarok, the gods of Ragnarok could return?
I feel like they probably could. Once again, the Doctor implies that they were a recurring villain in his personal life, not necessarily in the life of the show. Mm-hmm. But, so I feel like if they were to come back, the Doctor would not be surprised, is the thing. So I would say, yeah, go for it. And they could do this whole thing. They could bring back the eye motif, and they could have kites with eyes on them. And early on in the story, the Doctor could be like, "I remember the last time I saw kites with eyes on them. It was the gods of Ragnarok." And and
although we'd probably want them to be doing something other than a circus.
That's too obvious. Yeah.
So I wonder what else it would be. Like, it could be something hip and modern.
It could be something hip and modern.
Like vines.
The psychic vines.
Yes.
If that username is available, I'm going to take it.
Please do.
Right. I'm not sure what the premise would be for that. People would have to send their vines in, I guess. They'd have to can you @reply on Vine? I don't use Vine that much.
I don't know. There's probably hashtags.
Oh, hashtags, of course. So you hashtag psychic vines. Then the gods would rate you, and you'd either end up, I don't know.
They'd either revine you or they wouldn't.
Right, exactly. Yeah, and if they don't, then I'm guessing you'd suffer some phone-related death. Somehow.
Yes, your phone would eat you or something. I don't know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I just think it's a great concept, like these gods whose most pressing need is just to be entertained by like the dumbest entertainment conceivable.
Yeah. Maybe like modern day Earth gives them enough of it where they don't need, there's a lot of things on TV right now, and they're usually terrible, probably more than 50% of the time. You turn on a television and it's probably something terrible.
Probably.
They probably have all the entertainment they could want. So they may not actually become a threat again. Ever.
Oh, huh. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Keeping them at bay.
Right. All this bad television is just
it serves
keeping
a
the darkness. Exactly. It's keeping it contained. It's important.
Explains so much.
Yeah, I think that's got to be it. Yeah, I would just once again reiterate, I wish it had been more psychic. I mean,
well, yeah.
I mean, I guess maybe back in the circus's heyday, it was in fact a psychic circus. Maybe there was a psychic element to it.
It could just be a name.
I guess. I guess. But why would they resort to such cheap marketing? It's the thing.
I don't know. I mean, especially when they have such good marketing tools at their disposal.
Exactly. Why do they need this extra layer of deception?
Yeah, I honestly don't know.
So yeah, if I had one complaint about the circus, it was that it wasn't psychic enough. Since then, when things have been called psychic somethings, they've, at least in the new series, they've lived up to that. The psychic paper, that's pretty psychic.
It is psychic. Yeah, I can't think of anything else.
Yeah, that's the one example. But it really delivers, is the thing.
It does. So next time, we'll be talking about Scream of the Shalka, the animated adventure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm excited for this.
Yeah, me too, because I've never seen it.
Oh, really?
Really, really.
Oh, wow.
I have the DVD, I just haven't watched it.
I thought you'd seen, or did you not count this in your...
I did not.
Oh, okay. Well, and it's not really Doctor Who. Well, I mean, it is Doctor Who, but it's not, it's not in the canon.
I like the hesitation with which you say that. I have no opinion on that. I mean, I if there are people who insist that it's not canon to the point of getting angry, I will usually try to persuade them that it is just for fun.
Well, obviously.
Yeah, but
if you can't be contradictory, then what's the point?
I don't know. I mean, it was clearly intended to be canon.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's true. It's. I mean, it's got to be like a split timeline, right?
I guess, or something weirder than that. I don't know.
I like the thought that it could be weirder than a split timeline.
Well, I mean, there are some who... I mean, we can talk about this more when we talk about it, actually. But we can probably have a more informed discussion after either one of us or both of us has seen it.
That's true.
But there are some who say there's a reference to it in The Time of the Doctor. But...
interesting.
Yeah, we will... we can puzzle that out next time.
I guess we'll have to. But yeah, in any case, I'm certainly looking forward to it.
As am I. And I think it's I forget how many episodes. I think it's 6 episodes. But the episodes are short.
Well, this was originally going to be web content.
It was. Yeah.
So, obviously people on the internet have short attention spans.
Yeah, even in 2004 when it premiered. Yeah, it's 6 episodes, 15 minutes each.
That's not bad. What is that? I can't do math, but it's what is it, 90 minutes in total?
About, yeah.
Yeah. That's like a two-parter of New Who.
Sure. And
I like to measure things in terms of just New Who episodes.
Yeah, apparently David Tennant is in it too.
What?
Yeah, he just has a small role.
What?
I'm curious to know what the animation is like because I've never even seen like a clip of it or anything.
Well, I assume it's like yeah,
I've seen stills.
Yeah, we're right. I guess that's all I've seen too. I assume it's some kind of like flash animation, right?
Yeah, but I mean, there's flash animation that's good, and then there's flash animation that's not.
Well, that's a good point.
So I'm just curious to know how good it is because I've never really been a fan of any animated Doctor Who that I've seen animation wise. Like I don't think I've ever liked the animation of any of the animated Doctor Who projects they've put out. Like I think probably the worst of it was like the pseudo animation for the Shada. Did you ever watch any of that?
Yeah. So wait, would that be for the eighth? Was that like the Eighth Doctor thing?
Yeah,
I did watch some of that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched a few minutes of it. And I was like, this is awful.
Yeah. That was it's kind of it's kind of brutal. So yeah. Well, so right. So like the pinnacle of animation would be like what, Homestar Runner? We're talking. Like, you think?
Homestar Runner's pretty good. Probably.
Like, at the time, I think that was probably cutting edge. 2004. That was around that time, right? Like,
yeah, I suppose it would be.
That was their heyday.
So yeah, that's probably the pinnacle of 2004 Flash animation. Yeah, so I guess we'll judge it after having seen it, but I'm curious. Oh, also Derek Jacobi's in it too.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
They really had like an all-star, well, not necessarily all-star, but like, within the realms of Doctor Who, future Doctor Who.
Yeah.
They had like an all-star, a retroactively all-star cast.
Mm-hmm.
Well, right, because even the Doctor guy is
Richard E. Grant.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, wow, they really got a lot of, I don't know what an alum is for like a pre-lum. We got a bunch of pre-lums from Doctor Who.
Yeah, pre-lums. Pre-alumni.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see that. That's gonna be really, that's gonna be really something. I'm excited.